All right, buckle up, because today we are diving deep into the legend of Thor Odinson.
Gore.
Yeah, Thor.
The god of thunder.
We more than that, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We're going way past just the hammer-wielding strong man.
Right.
We're talking hidden weaknesses, surprising connections. Like, did you know he's got this whole connection to a certain web slinger?
Yeah.
And like this legacy that goes back thousands of years? We're going to unpack all of that.
I think what's so interesting about Thor is that on the surface, you see this very brawny god with a hammer.
Right.
But his story really gets into these deep layers of mythology, psychology, and really like how the definition of hero can change over time.
I love that. And the source material is all over the place, which I think is really cool, right?
Yeah.
We're talking Norse myths, we've got comic book lore.
Right.
We're even going to get into how Thor has been interpreted across different like media. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And one thing that I always kind of tripped me up a little bit was how many origin stories he has. Like every time I feel like I read a different comic or like see a different show, whatever, it's like, oh, here's a new spin on how Thor came to be.
Right.
So what's up with that?
Well, this is where Ragnarok gets really, really interesting because it's not just a one-time apocalypse. It's this cyclical event in Norse mythology, right? It's this constant cycle of destruction and rebirth.
Okay.
And some scholars even argue that maybe that's why there's these echoes and these variations in Thor's backstory, almost like ripples across time.
Whoa, so each Ragnarok is like hitting the reset button? The little details kind of seep through that.
Exactly.
That's kind of cool.
But even with all the variations, you know, there are certain constants.
Right.
Thor is always the son of Odin, the All-Father of Asgard.
Of course. Yeah.
But, and here's a curveball for you, his mother is not Frigga, as many people believe.
Really?
His mother is actually an elder goddess named Gaea.
Yeah.
A being so powerful, she is the embodiment of Earth itself.
Wow.
So already you have that nature versus nurture, right?
Yeah.
That unique parentage is what makes him so incredibly strong, even among Asgardians.
That's amazing, Gaea, the Earth Mother. And no wonder he feels so connected to Midgard.
Right, exactly.
Okay, that's a huge reveal. But we can't talk about Thor without talking about, like, the other side of that coin, his brother.
Right.
Loki.
The god of mischief.
It's like, you know how they say every hero needs their villain? Talk about sibling rivalry on a cosmic scale.
It's true, and Loki's envy, I think, runs deeper than just wanting Thor's toys, you know?
Yeah.
Imagine being raised in Asgard, this warrior culture where your father clearly favors the mighty Thor.
Oh, yeah.
In one story, actually, a young Loki uses magic to turn Thor into a frog.
No way, really?
Temporarily, but still, I mean...
You turn him into a frog.
He turned him into a frog, and it might seem like harmless fun, but when you really think about it, it speaks volumes about Loki always feeling inadequate, always trying to prove himself.
100%, 100%. And it makes you wonder if it was just inevitable, right? Like, two brothers vying for power, vying for their dad's approval. It's, I don't know, it's Shakespearean in a way.
It really is.
But let's talk about, I mean, this is a big part of who Thor is. The one thing that everyone kind of pictures when they think about Thor. Let's talk about Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Yeah, his hammer. And it's interesting because it's not just a weapon.
No, it's not.
It's this, like, symbol, it's a conduit, and, like, the fact that it was forged by dwarves using a dying star, like, come on.
It's true.
That's incredible.
It adds a whole other layer to it.
Dwarves and a dying star, it's hardcore.
But then it gets even more interesting because Odin, being the, you know...
The wise father.
The wise father, imbues Mjolnir with enchantments.
Of course.
The most famous being the worthiness enchantment.
Right, so it's not even just about being strong enough to pick it up. You have to be worthy.
You have to be worthy, and there have been instances where someone other than Thor has lifted the hammer.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Who else could possibly be worthy to, like, wield this power?
Captain America.
No way! Captain America, get out of here!
Lifted the hammer.
That is incredible. See, it really makes you think about what worthy really means then.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Oh, my mind is blown.
It's not just about physical strength, but it's about character. It's about your heart.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of heart, Thor has had his fair share of experiences down here on Earth.
He's had a few.
Right, like he's had these secret identities. You know, we're talking Donald Blake, the humble doctor, Sigurd Jarlson, the construction worker.
Living a normal life.
It's like Odin signed him up for, like, I don't know, God intern program or something like that.
In a way.
Like, you're going to go down there and you're going to learn what it's like to be a human,
Exactly. Learn some humility.
to really experience these challenges firsthand.
It was like a time out, but on a cosmic scale.
Right.
A learning experience.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it changed him, you know? These experiences on Earth changed him.
Right.
And then you bring in his love for Jane Foster, a human woman
Right.
that challenged everything Odin thought he knew about his son.
Right.
Because it speaks to Thor's ability for love, for connection, beyond Asgard.
Wow.
But those human entanglements also exposed him to pain, to loss.
Yeah.
Emotions that are far more complex than anything he'd faced in battle.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And when you go through those things, when you feel that, like, loss and you feel that vulnerability,
Yeah.
it really makes you question everything. And I think we've all been there.
Absolutely.
But, like, when it gets to the point where it leads to you being unworthy to even lift your own hammer,
Right.
it's like, that's a whole other level.
Talk about a crisis of confidence, right?
Right.
That period of unworthiness was huge for Thor.
Right.
You have the god of thunder stripped of his power, and he's really having to confront those flaws,
Right.
his insecurities, but, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Yeah. Right.
And for Thor, it really did.
And it leads him to having to, like, face this prophecy about his own demise.
Exactly.
We're talking the Midgard serpent.
The Midgard serpent.
Right. This whole thing with him, like, dying in battle against this, like, giant snake.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure
Right.
to know your fate.
Yeah. To know it's coming for you.
Yeah.
But you still have to face it. It's going to mess you up a little bit, even if you are a god.
Even if you are a god.
But even with that hanging over his head, he still accomplishes some pretty incredible things.
He really does.
I mean, we're talking, he eventually takes on the mantle. He becomes the All-Father.
Right, inheriting the Odin Force.
Okay, hold on. Break down the Odin Force for me for a second.
So the Odin Force, this is basically the life force and the power of past Asgardian rulers.
Okay.
Passed down from generation to generation.
Wow.
It gives the All-Father unimaginable power, but it also amplifies their responsibility,
Oh, wow.
their connection to their people.
Right, right.
And so for Thor to take on that mantle, it wasn't just about, oh, I'm more powerful now. It was really about proving that he was worthy of that legacy,
Forward.
following in his father's footsteps.
Right, to prove himself to be the best ruler he could be. Wow, it's like stepping into, like, giant shoes, but in this case, those shoes are, like, attached to the fate of an entire realm.
Exactly.
So he's kind of, I don't know, it feels like he's going through it.
He goes through it.
He goes through it, but then he comes out on top. He becomes the All-Father, faces his demons. It seems like he's found a little bit of peace, but then
But then Black Winter.
the Black Winter appears.
What in the Nine Realms is the Black Winter?
The Black Winter is, imagine a cosmic entity so terrifying
Okay.
that it consumes realities.
Oh, no.
This is not just about destroying Asgard.
Right.
It's about erasing everything Thor holds dear from existence.
Okay, no, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
And so to face this threat